Hello my friends and welcome back to another live stream on the twitch.tv/the and if you're watching on the second channel, well, an explanation of what is in store for today will have to wait because I know a whole bunch of people are going to turn up and it takes a little bit of time for people to tune in and I'll have to explain myself over and over again. This feels ominous. I don't remember placing a bunch of observers like this. Was this me? Was this something that I did? I don't think it was. Let's go hit the lever. Oh man, today's going to be a fascinating stream. Fascinating stream. We need a little bit of space away from other places too, so I'm going to go over here. This looks nice. There we go. Then we got all of that in the background, so we're going to pick this spot here. And peeps are tuning in. Lucro and Bear, thank you so much for the bananas. Rambling PJ, thank you as well. Geodasher just woke up. Good timing. Awesome. You know Redstone is funky when X doesn't even know what it is. I meant I don't remember making it. Like, if I'd have taken a moment to look at it, maybe I'd have understood what it was. I just, you know... I'm in my... This is a server. Other people can play on here. I'm assuming it's something someone else did. It threw me off. I'm like, I don't remember doing that. Bear, thank you for gifting a sub to the Huggy Bear. Bears supporting bears. Thank you for the gifted sub. Huggy Bear, be sure to say thanks. Oh, you've already said it. Good. That's nice to see. We're going to need, like, to be really well prepared. Let's use a lectern. Let's grab some blocks. I've had so many ideas. This feels like a moment in time right here. For me. Anyway, just a thing that's been brewing. We're going to put this right here. Book and quill, not written book. This is going to hold a whole bunch of information. And I don't even know what to write in first. There's so many things we're going to go through here. Dang. I just kind of want to jump into it and explain it. But I want more people to sort of turn up first. What else can I do that's just before all of this? I know I'm going to be doing a lot of redstone and using a lot of blocks, but I'm going to be using a lot of space to do that. In fact, this has sort of been placed in the very middle of the area that I want to work in. Alright, ideas are forming. Think about the workflow. Think about the workflow. If I stand on top of this thing, right, and press F3C, put that in there, except not, funny enough. Right, I'm going to grab that with the middle click. I'm going to put this here. I want all of these things back. Take book. Right, now we're going to fly off in this direction. So this will be where we come to use and interact our notes. So that's where that command needs to be. That takes me to the middle. Now what I need to do is press F3C. I need to modify this selector. Let's just do @P, like nearest player. Yep. Now I'm over here. We put in our new coordinates. So now we've got an easy way back and forth, right? So just over here is where we're going to put those blocks down. This is where we're going to keep our notes for this game. Making a game. So Jemin says, you explain it please. X, we need an explanation. I'm going to let a few more peeps roll. Let's try and keep myself busy for a little bit longer here. Alright, we're done with the command blocks. Done with these blocks. Done with everything. Let me see. We're going to be using a whole bunch of redstone components. I don't think I want to lay out a palette. I'm probably just going to do it all on the fly. This, by the way, is my building palette. I've been thinking about the theme, the design of what we're doing today a little bit. These are the ideas that came to mind. I'm going to put a lot of notes inside this book. But we need to start with the explanation, of course. Apollo Trevant says, why are you British? That's like a question that answers itself, you know? Like, British explains what you just asked. What about using mangrove for a ready a red? I did think about that. Yeah, I think that's nice, actually. I think, yeah, we'll go with mangrove. I just figured if I did mangrove, I'm going to be relying on other hermits. Because I do plan on building what we're going to see today on the server, but maybe it sort of depends. Like, I've been thinking about all these mechanics and how the game could be done with command blocks, but also can be done in survival. You see, survival is the grind. Survival's the thing that's been a constant annoyance just because of the friction between your vision and the time it takes to produce it, right? But maybe we'll like make that the charm, because I was thinking it's really cool how you can actually do a lot of survival game mechanics in survival. I feel like I just need to go into it and explain it now, alright? We got 300 peeps hanging out with us. Thank you everyone for coming by. Everyone who arrives late is going to be asking so many questions. Anyway, for the you that are here now, you'll get the explanation, okay? So, the stars have aligned. I always have aspirations for making games. That can be tricky. It takes time. You've got a multitude of ideas. You don't know which ones to go with. When are you going to do this? Where is it going to take place? Those aspirations have aligned with an inspiration and a practicality to make it happen. At the charity live stream on the weekends, we played a whole bunch of mini games, and it was ethos that really just made me think, there's so many more ways of doing things we couldn't do back in the day. When you made PvP maps way back when, using command blocks, you could do a lot. Trying to do it in survival, very difficult. This is a time probably before hoppers, and hoppers are in the game, but a lot of redstone mechanics and certain things. And also the availability of materials through farms. So the game's come a long way. Ethos minigame opened my eyes up to that, and has since got me thinking about different redstone mechanics I can deploy to make this game happen. Now, I've been working on a 3-part trilogy for how Hermitcraft runs, leadership, and what inspired it, its history. And in that, I discovered, or re-remembered, I mean, it's hard to discover something you already did, but back in the day, I made this game called Cube Control. And that was a really awesome minigame. We played that with the Minecrackers, and it just got me thinking about the whole concept again. We actually had a Cube Control 2 map in development for a long time. It had all these slick features like a dynamic map, like signifiers to tell you who controls what cube, all this kind of stuff. And I realized all of these things are kind of possible now in survival Minecraft. So what we're going to do today is like slowly piece together all these pieces that will make this game happen in survival. I was also thinking about how there's such an abundance of farms and shulker boxes on the server that we can just use those things and dump materials into the game, as opposed to, you know, using command blocks to summon materials like you would normally if you were making a command block map. So a few things have clicked, like, oh, actually, this is way more doable in survival these days. Leonide says, oh my god, cube control. Someone remembers. So, what is the concept of cube control then? It's a PvP map. Let's get some blocks here. We'll make some markers. I was going to pick out like a variety. What we'll do is just grab some with distinctively different colours. In fact, let's just go to wall blocks. Like, that's just an easier way of clarifying. We'll probably come back to what I'm about to build right now, because we'll want to do some layout management at some point, right? But Team 1 has like a bunch of points to get to on the battlefield. Then there's some shared points in the middle. And I've been thinking about what all of these are again. And then there is... Hang on, this is supposed to like flip, is always the idea. Yeah. Not quite. Alright, and then like maybe you've got a spawn point at the back. So your playing field is mirrored. So when we build and design the area, it will be like, we'll build half of it. And it's going to... we'll come back to the sculpt later, but it's going to have like a theme, and that theme is going to be coloured. So then you flip it and you've got the similar material. So because both of these are wood, we can use the wood palette and then have a symmetrical layout. That's really important. That's the way you know it's technically fair, right? So we're going to go for that. Apparently the music's loud. It might just be that my microphone's a little far away from my mouth. The music volume is as normal, which we've done a plentiful amount of times, so no issue. Night Sport, thank you for 18 months. Well done on Sunday. You raised a crazy amount of money. Hey, that was all the other hermits. I was just there to support them. Scar doing some amazing things. You know, the Hermitcraft community needs to be thanked as well for that, because that was kind of incredible. We might actually have like quite a lot of stuff that gets shared in the middle, so I don't know, put an extra block there just to remind myself. Okay, so you know, you got players spawning on their individual sides. They head out to these points, which were floating cubes in a void once. They're just going to be points now, like in the terrain. And you would pick up resources and then turn those resources into weapons and armor. What we're going to do different, I think, is we're going to bring all of the resources back to the spawn point, which was a part of Cube Control 2. We're going to have to do that in survival, but I've already thought about these challenges. And then, what was the other thought just lurking on the edge of my mind then? Yeah, then you have to come back and craft them together, essentially, right? What we will do different is that you will control these. So let's go grab those 2 blocks over there. Like, you will have to go to the area and, like, control it. Now, this one in the middle is going to be like a place of interest or something that you come to get. I'll tell you what it is. We'll just put it there so I don't have to remember it. It will be an enchanting table area, okay? So that's like a fixed thing. You're not picking up a resource and bringing it back. You know, and I just had this idea. Maybe what I'll do... Like, lapis is going to have to be a resource at some point. We'll come back to that, because we'll start with all the things we know and get to some of the questions we don't later on. So, like, let's say red team is on this side, and, like, this is how the battle is going, right? Like, the teams have sort of moved over and taken over. Some of these ones in the middle are maybe controllable too. So, as you control more resources come back, they make you more powerful. We're going to have to build a whole tech tree for this. The idea being that slowly, you know, you start to take over more of the map, and this will eventually result in a win. Okay, first thing I want to put in the book. This is going to be a horrible... Am I writing here? Why am I not writing? Because you can't... I thought you could write while it was in the lector. No. This concerns me now because I'm in creative mode, right? Concerns me a lot. I don't want to lose that book. But this is just going to be a big messy scramble of notes. I'm gonna keep it in the game. I was just thinking I could do this, you know, in a different thing. Right, so win condition yet to be determined. Very important. We're yet to determine the winning condition. I don't know if it'll be like take over a majority of points, which is something we'll be able to do, because I want to have a point calculator where we send redstone back to a machine that turns on a beacon. So when you start to get low, you'll get some defensive perks at your base, right? And it'll only affect this sort of small area where you're respawning. So it gives you a bit of a opportunity to push back. That's an idea. Okay. But yeah. God, so many things to do, and I'm just trying to, like, give you an oversight. Let's get a little bit into... There's like this temptation to figure it out all at once, you know? But there's just so many aspects. We'll end up talking about it a lot, and I kind of want to balance doing a little bit more, because the problem with talking about something and having it in your head is that you don't have to do the legwork. So I think you should always balance the vision with the legwork, so you don't end up with like this massive list of things to do all of a sudden. So what are we thinking? Greejip, thank you for the cheers and biddies. How are you, X? Hope you're having a good day. I'm alright, my dude. Thank you for the support. It is appreciated. Hope you're enjoying the stream. So we're going to have one of the basic resources be wood. We've got wood farms, very easy to get in high quantities. This is going to allow the player to create sticks and also shields in combination with iron. So another point that we're going to have is iron. And then we need some sticks. Sticks and iron makes tools. We'll probably maybe put cobblestone somewhere, or maybe skip that part of the tech tree. I think we want to keep this as streamlined as possible. So the combination of those things allow you to create shields, sticks, and let's put tools on here like a pick. I think we'll just, it's actually going to be like a no block breaking game, so picks are actually irrelevant. Which is quite a fundamental change to the original, actually. So those two things alone give you defense, attack, and the sticks is just like an intermediary step, right? Axe is also a weapon, so you got potentially 2 weapons to choose from. I mean, you could maybe go for like a fast attack. I don't know how well these are balanced, but they did do that, so you have options. Flint and steel, I think it's too permanent to put fire, but we do play without fire spread. So flint and steel could be a part of the game, but then we add flint, and not much else comes with flint, although it does link to arrows. Okay. So this is about like what things. When it comes to food, I think we're going to have one for this and then that. So the ones at the top here are the ones that will become control points. Right, so you need apples, and then you need a golden control point to upgrade the golden apples, which are very good in PvP. Gold also lets you craft another type of weapon. Let's compare those. Right, there's no actual... I thought there was an advantage. I think it's the mining time of a pick, which is slightly faster. So there's probably no advantage to, like, +2, +2. So if they're the same, you could use that. I don't think we'll introduce, like, golden carrots and stuff as well. But anyway. Nothing else here looks too relevant, is what I'm pointing at. So gold is literally one you control for that. So we might want to make some sort of exchanging system for gold at a later point. J. Icarus, thank you ever so much for 5 months of support. Appreciate it. Hope you're enjoying the stream. We are 17 minutes in. Time to start drinking some tea. Is more enchantable. Brilliant. Brilliant. Okay, like, if players remember that, terrific. Another potential resource, not entirely sure on this, is lapis. You pick up lapis, you bring it to the center, and you enchant. This is something I imagine the teams might do together in order to be like, let's protect each other while someone's enchanting. Okay then, so what other things do we need in this game? Like, we'll scan our eyes over. We could put in diamonds somewhere, although because it's basically the disposable, right? We want to use farmable materials, so we're probably not going to put diamonds in. Lapis is like the one thing that's going to be a bit... Hope we don't lose too much of that each time we play, That's why I think it might be smarter to create a supplier lapis, like take one at a time to enchant type dealio. String. String and sticks makes bows. Okay. And then how do you make... Let's get a crafting bench out here. I think I'm going to put crafting benches throughout the map. Yeah, this is where I prefer signs to that book, actually, because it's like... It's a bit more permanent and just leave yourself a note, something you can come back to later. You can get lapis from villages. Oh, yes, okay, so trading. Yeah, we can trade, I forgot about that. Reminds me of another one. XP bottles are going to be a thing. Bottle of enchanting. Right, so where else do we need to put things? So string plus... Oh, no, that's the wrong way around. String plus sticks, and you've got your bows. An extension of this, and the reason I needed the crafting table is just to remind myself of yield crossbow. Requires iron, and then the tripwire hook, which is string. Yeah, so if you want to invest some of your iron in a weapon, you can make a crossbow. And I don't feel like there's a big advantage out of the gate for picking up the crossbow. So if this were a custom map I was making, I would make it so this would craft enchanted. So it's definitely worth the extra iron you put into it. In lieu of that, I think what we could do is maybe a team has a limited amount of firework rockets, or that you can buy and trade them. So if you make the crossbow, it's going to be like worth your time. I must admit, as I'm starting to like build together the components, there's a little more creative / game command block stuff that is enticing, but there are some survival solutions to balance things out. That is true. Okay, we need to put XP bottles. You need XP to enchant. There will be like resource gathering points for that. How much XP do you get from just like one of these? XP set Xisuma 0 levels. No, is it not done like that? Levels and points. That was a whole one. Let's try again. Looks like you are going to be capable of it's a bit of a gamble, basically, isn't it? The reason I'm just looking at this is because so far I think we've got less than one level once. Yeah, and there's another time that you didn't. So, here's another note. Players have to play with no XP, right? I think I'm gonna ditch using the book actually. Bye. What was the thing that we wrote in it? Let's put win condition is yet to be determined. As we go, we're going to need to take notes, and I much prefer using the sign, so we'll go that way. XP bottles also trade some clerics at max levels, so you might want to consider not directly trading them. You know what? We could put villagers in that you trade with, but I feel like that'll run into some issues with like trade limits and how often you can play the game. Directly trading them. Yeah, again, I've already considered that this is now a tradable resource, right? When I last made this game, you couldn't get these in survival, I think, or if you did, they were like very rare, not very farmable. So yeah, these things are going to sort of slowly combine together, and I'm not sure if you're going to get these from the points or from like the center without a point control system. Now, so far we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 solid control points. We need like a 6th thing, and maybe 7th, 8th, 9th. We're still sort of going through all the options here. So, focusing on what a player can use in a survival environment, like if we were on a creative map, we could probably put in way more elements. Not really seeing like a lot of usefulness here. We know we can make armor. Okay, yeah, so arrows need to be accounted for. And how is an arrow made? Well, flint is a part of it. So we could have flint, and that allows you to make flint and steel and arrows, but then you need feathers. We could pre-craft these and just make it so that there is a control point that gets you the arrows, which I think is probably going to be the simplest thing to do. Maybe it even just gives you like spectral arrows. Anyway, so you got arrows at a control point now. And then I was thinking about brewing. Okay, so with brewing over here, we'll just throw this up here for a minute. We can probably make a system that feeds in, like we can make a supply of awkward potions, right? And I think this could be really simple, that maybe you have to, either the player interacts with this or doesn't. If they do, they can take out the blaze powder. So we can make it an honorary rule that you don't. But what we could also do is, and this will require more redstone, is that the player puts their ingredient into here. So we pre-brew awkward potions, and then all of these items all of a sudden can come from somewhere else on the map, right? And then they can be a part of the game. As for the second layer of this, I don't think so. However, lingering potions can then be crafted into arrows with special effects, which would be nice to bring in, but we don't want to overcomplicate the amount of things going on that the player has to manage. So far it's like, it's pretty basic stuff. You got these resources coming in, you're crafting them into the things that you need. Where do we like nicely leverage that? If you're collecting some of these materials, you're just going to pick them out of the chest and put them into the brewing stand. And I don't know... Okay, chat. Talk to me some redstone here. Also, Cybot or anyone who's whitelisted, if you're watching, this would be a great moment for a little bit of help. Yeah, you craft tipped arrows with potions of lingering. And I don't know how to do that. Like, we could pre-craft potions and have like a variety. Lucaro's coming on to help. Alright, cool. So what I'm thinking is like, if we just have it like this and we automatically feed in awkward potions and this stuff, then great. Honorary rule, you don't pull that out. You put in your ingredient, you pull out your free potions, your awkwards are there again. That honestly sounds like the best way to do it. Now, is there a simple way to do it with redstone where the player interacts with this part here, they put in their ingredient, and the rest of the contraption this isn't visible to the player anymore, and they will get their potions, come into a chest, and then the system is ready to go again. Now, doing it on the honor system basically means no redstone, no harm. Doing it with redstone means, is it going to... Are you going to run into some sort of unforeseen issue, right? So the player interface as well wants to be nice. So it might be a case of like they can see this and then they can open that, except they can't because I put a block there. Anyway, Lucro, thank you for coming on and helping out. If there's something nice and simple that we can do there, then that'll be an option. Otherwise, we'll go with the honorary system. So if we look at what things we could give them, a lot of this stuff can be farmed, and I think we should start by ruling out some things. Like, we're not going to go down the road of splash potions. These are going to be player-only perks. So we could definitely put... now, you see, if there was a sub-food type of melon that you could collect, then you could combine it with gold and use it to make potions. So there's a way we could have 2 tiers of food. Melons at the back, apples at the front. Apples are a better food source, of course, than melon. So you've got a 2-tiered. But, you know, are we overcomplicating it? Are we adding in too many things? We'll sort of keep them... Let's add like a couple of bits up here to say which is which, right? Back to the brewing tab, or better yet, this interface. Not going to use that. No night vision. That being said... The game is going to be played underground. We'll come back to that later. No, but that won't be necessary. We do not want to add things where they're not really needed. Rabbit's foot and jumping could help you traverse terrain better, so we could make it a deliberate design that the terrain has access points in which brewing this potion becomes really useful. And that sounds like some really fun game design. So I'm looking at sugar and rabbit's foot for getting around. Don't see, you know, gas could be quite overpowered, and we'd need a farm for that, but it's Hermitcraft. Fire resistance, I don't, you know, there will be fire aspect. It's a bit of hassle. And then you got the blaze powder for strength. I kind of like the idea of keeping it, you know, not putting in too many options. Sugar, rabbit's foot, and melons. Now... Sugarcane could give you paper plus leather equals books, enchant books. We're not going to go down that road. gets a little too complicated. Got to keep things streamlined. So I think health boost, jump boost, and speed could be the 3 that we do. But where do you get sugarcane and rabbit's feet from? Okay. Actually, this might be an argument just to add one more, because I think we might group them together and have it as like a random thing that you might get. So, melons you'd get out of crafting, then you might go to a third place to find the next ingredient. Oh, also survival mode, right? A rabbit's foot farm? Oh my days, that would drive me nuts. And that's the one where we could introduce... Oh, that'd be such a good one. Like having a lane of the game that you can kind of like run around and explore because you've got the rabbit's foot. That's such a cool advantage. Such a good reason to go get that. But maybe those challenges will lead to greatness. So we've already got health. I think it might just be strength of attack then. Is the other option. So blaze powder would be what are we putting at this level here? I didn't actually put the first one down. So 3 potion options alongside the ability potentially to get some melons. So we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These ones I'm a little undecided on. 5 control points, potentially a 6th if we have 2 tiers of food. Stop that, please! Gosh. Let's change the difficulty to peaceful for now. Right. Fegley says emerald for late game currency. Yeah, I don't want to do a currency thing. I want, like, there are all these little extras that you could include, like activating a beacon, getting your hands on some of these types of arrows, getting a totem. That's a very powerful item. These are options I want to explore, but I don't want to do it through currency. I kind of want it to be about collecting and having materials come back to your base. So when it comes to other food types, we don't really want to diversify too much here because I don't think there's much reason to. I want to keep our game kind of streamlined. And again, because it's like an ender pearl. Okay, so ender pearls are powerful. Now we're going through that phase of like, the obvious stuff has risen to the surface. What else is there? Let's go all the way back to the beginning. We're not going to introduce a diamond tier of stuff. With a shop system we could, but I kind of want to focus more on the player crafting things, which these are obviously not craftable. Fire charges? In Cube Control, I think there were these like control points you could go up to and launch those from. Yeah, not going to introduce horses. I think that's kind of it. I don't think there's anything else there. Food, tools. We're not missing something obvious. Weapons, we've covered. Turtle shell doesn't have any extra perks, does it? Then you got the books. Apparently I'm sipping my tea as if it were a mic drop. I'm making a point and then having a sip and it's like boom. And that's completely unintentional at this point in time. I'm just trying to set the parameters of like what my game design theory is here. Because you'll see we started off with this idea of crafting and we could take it further if we gave the player access to more materials, but the more material we need is diamonds. If we're to do that in survival, we can trade with villagers for diamond gear, but then you're introducing a shop. And I don't want to create like a system here, a system there, a system over there. Like, we've got to keep it streamlined. There's a crafting element, there's a brewing element, and it looks like we're going to end up with like a collection element, because the other 2 things I can see us using are these. This one being very overpowered, which might be a bit much. And then there's the possibility of crafting these, but like, where do you get those lingering potions from? So we could have a lingering potion control point that sort of sends some things back. And then it's the question of like, oh, are you overcomplicating a little? I mean, we didn't really suss out like, how do you get these? Maybe that's a control point, right? Like a firework rocket control point. So then you're incentivized to create the crossbow to use the firework rocket. Otherwise, you would use it near yourself and near another player, and it'd be like a bit of a bomb. Again, we could go to splash potions and say you could get like these, and they're like grenades. But then we're slipping away from this idea of resource management, and... Are we? You know? What I could do... I could actually, like, skip a lot of this and just give player bows, like pre-crafted bows, but the farmability thing, because it's a survival game, so you always got to think this stuff through. It's very easy to get like a big shulker box for the string, big shulker box for the planks, iron, etc. The arrows will be not really too much more work, get it from a mob farm, but then you got to sit and craft loads of these. And then at what rate do they come from the middle out to the edge? So I'm going to say, let's stick with the crafting thing. Not going to rethink that. More ideas, more ideas. Let's get these ideas rolling in and explore the options. So, potentially pre-brewed splash grenades of like instant damage. Let's make them. Could be a thing you collect. And then when it comes to arrows, there could be like a lingering potion collection point where you know, maybe it's literally just one type. So if we go to the arrow, like what's the most effective here? If you had glowstone, which you could use in combination with brewing, you could also make spectral arrows, but I think that might be a bit OP. So invisibility, night vision, jump boost. We're looking for something that gets shot at your opponent, which is probably potentially going to be something like slowness or instant damage for more damage. And weakness, I think instant damage just makes sense. And this is actually, this isn't crafting, this would be, right? Like, if you got that one controlled, then you can make arrows of harming. I like that. So now we're looking at 5, 6, 7, potentially 8, 9, maybe up to 10. And I think what's best for a playfield, if you just look at the proportions here, I think you probably need a bit more length. So let's just go and knock this back a bit on this side. We'll sort of use one side to begin with. I've lost my beacon. So this is the team's like crafting / storage area. The beacon thing is something we're going to activate later in the game behind it. Okay, so now let's say we're going to have a grid of 9. We've decided that enchanting will go in the middle. And I think the best way to do it is to put the lapis on site. Because it's like, if you get to the middle, you can do everything you need there. Or you get to a control point somewhere, you get the resources, then go to the middle. Honestly, it could be either or. So let's just see how the layout sort of unfolds if we have something like this going on. Right, your most basic of resources, I think, is going to be wood in the oh wait, are we doing 2 lots of food? String and arrows. I feel like for stuff that's like, you got to think about how the layout is a bit symmetrical in some ways. Like, those being on the opposite corners give you pretty steady access to bows throughout the game, right? Iron should be a bit more valuable. It should be pushed forward. You need to be able to craft basics throughout the game. So there is no basic level of armor, which might suggest that iron being there is a little too advanced. But I'd say so far so good, but maybe string and arrow can be pushed forward a little bit. So it's like, what else do you have back? If we were to give the player the melon, we could put it in the corner, and then the apple would be a little pushed up the field. Let's try that. Let's see how that feels. So Your ability for that level of combat is up there. Wooden swords to begin with, right? We could give the team, like, starting armor as well. But anyway, first food type melon is in the corner. Second food type of is a bit more up ahead. That's looking okay. It's like a question of what goes in these other 3 spots now. Got those 4 down, so gold needs to go somewhere. Experience I think I want to be shared. Ender pearls is like rare loot, so is this. This thing though is essentially an upgrade of getting your arrows. So we could put that on the opposite corner. And then maybe gold goes here. Right? Looking good so far. Then you got this potion brewing thing. These pickups I think are going to revolve around the central shared area. So now we're left with like this odd space. Oh, I've kind of missed something here. This is also a pickup, which I think might be another one of these central ones. Okay. So what do we want to put in that corner? Piglins. Use gold for piglin bartering for fire charges and ender pearls. No, they give all sorts of random items and it's a bit of chaos. Krydex says that leather armor can be used as a way to know which team player belongs to. Yeah, what I want to do is... I've got so many elements to manage, I need to kind of simplify some things. I think what I'm going to propose on Hermitcraft is that we create the equivalent of the armor stand book or the ability to rename items with color and stuff, and create like a utility spot to put yourself into a colored team for a game. So you can go to like this place. When you stand here, you're on red team, and then when you stand here, you're cleared of being on a team. And that will allow us to go visit that place, put ourselves into teams, go play a game, and then come back. So that was going to be my proposal for handling that. Otherwise, it might be a case of just remembering who else is on your team, right? As well as having coloured names. I thought that it would be useful for Battlebane, says Taubar. The leather armour might have been, but that's the way Ethos set it up, right? You could just remove that third point on the first layer, just making it 2 points. Yeah, we could do. I'd like to leave it like that for now. Just have another think. Did we miss anything? I could put in another food type, but the question is why? Don't see a reason for that. Do not see a reason for another food type. You could also have like a non-resource, but like that's the theme. Everything there is an item coming through. Like you could have a on-off switch for your ability to brew. Let's have a look. Ingredients, bottles and fuel, 20-second brewing. I think this is note-taking. Oh look, we got Redstoners at it. They're doing stuff. Yeah, one thing I will say, if you're listening still, like we're gonna want something really like neat and tidy and compact. I mean, actually, this is probably not too bad. There's gonna be one on either side, right? Yeah, no, this is fine. For some reason in my head, I was sort of thinking of like how does it scale, but it's like no, wait a minute. There's one on either side, so just ignore me. Chorus fruit for an early game ender pearl. You can give people a banner to put on their shields. Yeah. It's another layer of crafting in a game where you're already doing a fair bit. Like, that's an element of it. You could also just have custom Minecraft skins for the games, yep. I don't think there is anything that goes in this corner. Just like one last little check. Is there anything we ruled out earlier that actually is maybe... I mean, blocks, like when... The idea is you don't place blocks, so... Kind of no on that front. We essentially don't want the players to like get too bogged down by particular activities. So the crafting is a bit of like a communication, resource management aspect, but we don't want to make it too heavy. I think just slimming it to 2 at the back kind of makes the most sense then. Let's not get too hung up on this stuff. And that might mean I want to change the layout a bit, but the first two that you get being food and wood makes a lot of sense. Then you move to this area, control the iron out to the sides. Maybe even like the layout is a little bit more like this. So that better food over here is like, if you also look at how you're going to like split in either direction, it's like, do you go for arrows that do more damage, or do you go for better food and the possibility to make golden apples with what you got in the center? It all kind of hooks up like that. Okay, so now for the center bits. These are the parts that, in fact, all materials in this game, you know, I was going to say they go either way. So when we start to build the redstone for this, the idea is that the resources go in either direction, but maybe that should be only for the ones in the middle. And if an opponent controls a resource point, they just turn it off, as opposed, because then you could really start to like overpower. And these are the decisions that you need to make early on where you're not playtesting, because these could be like massive redesign components that could really slow down what's possible. So to redesign like this could just be a bit of a nightmare later on. I think it's a smart decision to maybe say, actually, the resources here are like, you can turn your opponents off, but if you then take those resources away from them, you're probably going to swing the game too heavily. And then it would be easier for us to say, like with playtesting, like, oh, maybe we'll remove this beacon feature because that, you know, lets the team defend for too long or something. So I'm calling it now, and I'm going to say I think that's a bit much. So anyway, we now have 4 islands, is what I'll refer to them as. XP for enchanting. Now, the enchanting's sort of central. And when you have a non-symmetrical bit in the middle, it's like... it kind of becomes like, okay, so on this side, that's paired with this, but on the other team, it's paired with apple. So if apple turns out to be more favorable, apple puts you closer to XP, if you follow my drift. So we can also mess around with doing that, which means I think lapis is just going to be a part of the central thing. It's not going to be distributed. So we'll put that there. So 2 places to get XP from. I also want to have the ability for you to pick up firework rockets and to create potions, right? Fire rockets was integral for making the crossbow, which you maybe don't actually want to make. I like the idea that it requires a bit more work, uses some of your iron. I think at this point, ender pearls and the totem of undying are pretty much out of it. I mean, maybe it could be like a mix. Maybe it's like you can get potion modifiers and rockets from the central bits. You could also mirror the sides instead of making them symmetrical. I believe what you're saying is the same thing. What I was pointing out was the asymmetry of it, right? I was pointing out that if you have 4 different things here instead of 2 and 2, you create an imbalance in the symmetry. Some of you are saying don't make it symmetrical. You don't have to make it mirror though. I don't, but can you not see the point? Is that if it turns out that apples are way better than lingering potions, and apples is next to XP, which is really good, it's better than that thing over there, like you have this imbalance of the team that has the apple next to the XP maybe just gets like a quite powerful passive advantage. That's why I think it's got to be symmetrical. Have apple on the same side. Oh, I see what you're saying now. The way I wanted to do the map was to flip it like that. Yeah, so I could actually have it mirrored. Oh, now I'm getting it. Mirrored as a... Right, yeah, I'm with you now, chat. Burnt Chickeny, thank you ever so much for the Prime subscription. Greatly appreciated. Greatly appreciated. XP and Lapis both at the center. That is an option too, isn't it? That we could have all the things that you need in one place. But I kind of like the idea of the players having to work a bit more to get the XP and then get it to the center. We shall see, we shall see. My gut instinct, I really want to go with like the flip approach as opposed to the direct mirror with the building. Because let's say the layout is a bit more asymmetrical, like what's on this side isn't on that side. It means like it could be mirrored, like tall thing over here, tall thing over there. I like the idea of it being rotated, so it's like tall thing over here. That's my gut instinct to do it that way around. I don't really know like why. I think it's aesthetically probably nicer. I think it makes sense to stick with that. Now, as for getting XP from... Hello. I just had another idea, by the way. I'm being signaled. Discord. Oh, free. Like, one item. That's a good point. Like, it might be overpowered. So, I was thinking one item gives you 3 potions, right? That's quite... No, let's do 1, yeah. If you could make it work with 1, I think that makes much more sense. 1 for 1, I think will be easier to balance in the long run. So, it turns out there is actually, like, another thing we can do here, right? Which is to put XP closer to the player and have gold. I'm glad I spotted that. That's much more satisfying, I think. Right? So now, what do we have here? We're going to have potion ingredients and firework rockets. And then to represent potion ingredients, we'll just put one of those. So I'm going to do it like this for now. And that is our layout complete. And the timing is great because I really need to go to the loo. King Spy, thank you ever so much for 72 months. Evil X right there. Appreciate you ever so much. Appreciate you, appreciate you. Where's that button for the BRB screen? There we go. Peeps, if you're enjoying the stream, be sure to hit the follow button. I'm going to nip to the loo. I'll be right back, don't worry. At this point in the day, I've had a lot to drink, had a bit of a watery curry, and I just had a cup of tea. Still some left, I think I'm going to leave that. I'm going to make a little note. Had an idea. Yeah, had a little idea, just writing that down. Okay, let's get back into it. Good timing, really, because we're sort of now going to move into the second half of everything what we're doing. I think we've gotten the fundamentals of this game down. Okay, look at that layout. Let's just do a quick oversight review. Team base and crafting area, potential beacon status effects that could be enabled. Maybe we make a little shop where if you put in a gold ingot, you get one type of thing for a certain amount of time. Oh, that's a lovely idea, actually. Because we can look at some of the underrepresented parts, like maybe you don't use gold as much or these things, and you can, yeah, use it for that. In fact, the potions, we've got 3 ingredients: strength, jump boost, sugar. Sugar! The jump boost one is not really useful defensively, but, you know, you could activate the strength beacon with a blaze powder or the speed beacon back here, and it could last for 30 seconds. Sounds really good. Great ideas. Let's add a sign. activate beacons with ingredients. Question mark. Right. So now that we've established all of that, what we want to do next is start building out the redstone. The thing that I want to do first is probably the stuff in the middle. And there are just going to be so many things to consider. We're going to build like a module, and then the module will have all the decorative stuff built around it. So we're going to need droppers. I literally don't even know where to start with this. I also just want to go to the middle to do this. Over here. Which is why I put this space out far away. Let's go up about 30 blocks. Maybe higher than that. Okay. So what was it? Firework rockets and those potion ingredients. Let's just do firework rockets for now. So there's a reason we got a dropper. We're going to have like a whole bunch here, and it needs to go down to a water stream. The water stream will actually be like way under the world. So this is going to be like really out of sight, this next bit. I remember when he suggested that and he was like, no, we're not doing a shop. Oh dear. Oh dear. Always with the misrepresentation. I am not making a shop for buying items because you craft them. The idea of having the beacon activatable at the back was like a defensive measure. I'm just proposing there is the option to you know, activate that for a certain amount of time based on giving the redstone system an item. I mean, you don't always have to look for contradictions where there aren't any. It's all about game design. I do not want the players to be buying their weapons and tools at a shop. That's just part of the design. Anyway, right, so the top of the module is where this stuff is stored. There's going to be hoppers that go into shulker boxes that I obviously have to keep stocked up. But that, I think, is going to be relatively straightforward because I don't imagine a game is going to use a crazy amount. But let's say it does, we give it like this. Can keep whatever's in there all topped up. However, it will need to be activated by redstone. So yeah. So there's that. Pressure plates for hoppers for items to activate beacons for a period of time. That's what EFO did, and that's originally what I thought I'd do. But no, we're here to collect the items all the way down at this level. I think what I need to do is this to visualize it a little better. Let's put the bucket of water in the middle, right? Yeah, now I'm seeing it. Maybe it helps if I just like open that up a little bit. So this goes all the way back to your base, which is actually sort of what's going to be at every module. So yeah, there's going to be some serious layout challenges here. Now the idea is that this is way under the play area. And then we're going to have a bunch of stuff here. In fact, now that I think about it, this is under the play area. I don't know why I was picturing like a big drop down. So we don't actually need all of that. Essentially, this can just be lowered down. Let's grab a world edit axe for that. So like all of this can be lowered down. Let's quickly do that. So that means, that right there means that when this thing gets activated, I don't know how we're doing that, it can go left or right. What we have to do is obviously create like a redstone moving block somewhere. Now, I reckon this will probably be one ticked and it will come from up above. So that means you can have a redstone signal. Let's get some stairs. Where are the old andesite stairs at, bruv? Bruv. Put it there. Bruh. Right, so now it only goes in one direction. If this thing is pushed down to here, hey ho, it only goes that direction, right? Pretty easy to understand, but I think actually one-ticking this is probably bad. Like, we probably actually don't want to one-tick it, because it can be, hey! There's a name I haven't seen in some time. Also, oh no, we read out King Spy, so all caught up on the noises in the ear. Apier, am I saying it correctly? It's been so long. Apier, thank you ever so much for the raid. Hope you're doing well, my friends. I know you're around back in the day. You might know a little bit about cube control, which is what we're going to recreate in survival Minecraft. Let me know if you remember that one, my dude. Hope you're doing well, and welcome all the raiders. I know APR is French. I can't speak any French whatsoever. I'm absolutely terrible with other languages, so I apologise. But maybe you understand the redstone that you're witnessing right here. So yeah, a system to send the items to either side. Then we need a clock that activates this. So this might be a good time to start putting down some signs, right? Now when the game is not active, you also need like a bunch of lines, like game on, game off. So you need that. What else do we need? Maybe not, maybe not. Well, I know that I need that, so I'll keep that there. Yeah, we need like a clock. Lock, that's the wrong letter. Bits and SMP says, I've seen you on Gem's channel, so I'm kind of new. Well, welcome, welcome. Glad to have you with us. We're doing redstone, as you can see. So this will go all the way back to the collection point on either side. This is starting to look a little bit mad for survival, I'm starting to think. But I was kind of inspired by like decked out and stuff like that too a bit. So like you're gonna have to have a line of control for redstone. I'm probably gonna end up just rebuilding so much of this. That's something you've got to factor in, is that you don't figure it all out in one go. Right, okay, so something else that's on my mind. I've got to try and get all of the elements together here and make it make sense. So, somewhere in our control module, and we can probably have it down low underground. Right, I'm going to explain a big part of this game now. When we get around to building the arena that this is going to be placed in, it's going to be, let's say, Mahusive, right? 1, 2, 3, yeah, we'll have that. Oh, actually, it's supposed to be centered around that, really. Okay, so we want to tell the players who controls what. This can be done, actually it could be done with one beacon, which would be way better of an interface. Right, and we were looking at having like a red and a cyan team was sort of our theme. Yeah, okay, so one beacon in the middle is actually what we want. Not 2 beacons. And now we're going to have like a who controls this detector. Now what this is going to do with the game, if it had an open sky, is create like a lot of beams that just go up into the sky. So that's what gave me the idea that this could be underground and that the entire ceiling could be built out of skulk. Right, so then you have these little gaps. But at a distance, you're able to look out and see what team has what beacon activated. Let's go and grab a piston. We need to think very carefully about lots of these redstone elements, like how they get activated and stuff. So, you know, other team takes it over. Oh yeah, it's instant now, isn't it? That's super cool. Maybe there's even like a firework rocket that goes off when one gets taken over. Also, do we need a neutral position? Yeah, I think you need a neutral position for where the game's like not running. Wow. I'm now starting to see like how much redstone there is in all of this. Dang. Like, we might even have a neutral phase when taking this over. So the module that we're building now is actually going to be like a massive part of the game. There's going to be so many functions embedded in this redstone, it's going to be crazy. Hey Xisuma, just got vanilla tweaks and it's great, thanks for showing the link in all your videos, says Oreo Guy. Awesome, glad to hear it. Is there going to be another gaming stream, not necessarily for charity that is, says Eris Lair. I would like to organise some events. YoX, do you have protection from multiple brewing items being put in at once, or won't that be a problem? Best way to do things like that is to think about the player experience. So, excuse me. Unless your interface lets you put in one item at a time, assume they're going to put in multiple. They're going to queue it up. So I would make it, so imagine that they've just gone, oh, I've got 2 rabbit's foot, free sugar, chuck it all in, we'll get those potions back. And maybe those potions will automatically get fed into their main storage whenever we design that component. So all the items that we're going to create here have got to come back to the storage in the beginning. It's so crazy. It's just so crazy how much of this stuff there is to do. So somewhere above here, there's going to be a room that the players go into. I don't know what material we're going to build this room out of, but I'm just giving myself space for now. We're going to need to put some clear glass somewhere in that room, right? So you walk into the room, you see what color the thing is. We need a takeover system. We need a way for like one side to switch it to theirs or to the other. I've also just realized that we have access to buttons. So if we did this, like, arrive at the room, press the button. Deep Slate says Bow Duke. I haven't thought too deeply about what the palette is going to be built out of. My plan is to bring on some other hermits to like help me put all of this together. Like, it's such a mega project, and it needs to go through like some playtesting and stuff before like level design and getting all the redstone together. So it's always going to be done in like multiple phases, but yeah, I'm hoping to get some hermits to help me do the building stuff. So like the palette could be them really. I think I prefer the idea of using something very neutral for testing. So maybe actually we just go with stone. Where's the old axe? Okay. Like this room needs to be bigger. I know that already. It needs to be way bigger. But maybe we'll just say that for now. And then I think what you want is like a control point thing on either side. Maybe you could do something really odd, like the player has to like walk into a little space that takes them out of the action a bit. Like makes them vulnerable like this. Maybe it's a pressure plate, not a button. I think that would be, you know, stand here until it changes. Or press the button and you're a bit more... I think the standing is probably the better way to go. So let's say we roll with that to begin with. So now we're designing the player experience. The aesthetic look of the room will represent what resource there is. There might even be like pixel art around. But the redstone is what's important. So I want to stand over here and change a neutral beacon. I've also got to consider the game needs to be reset. We might need like a counter for the amount. Okay, we talked about the win condition earlier. Like a potential win condition was how many control points have you got activated. I think let's give that a little bit of thought for a second. Like, if it's not that, then maybe it's like collect X amount of resources, which I don't think really works with the way we decided that you can't steal your opponent's resources, you can just stop them rolling in. A win condition could be to create a certain amount of kills, but I think that doesn't quite fit the game as I see it. I really do think it's probably about controlling a certain amount of points. So now, how do we what system are we using to count? Because we need to send redstone signals in 2 directions. We need this module to hook up with that and this thing up here. This is some tough level redstone. Sleepy Sheep, thank you for 5 months. Happy 5 months. Glad to be here. This has all been a huge comfort for me recently. Hope everyone's doing... hope everyone's day is going well. Thank you so much for the 5 months, my dude. Glad you've been enjoying what we do here. That would allow defend for control. I don't know what you mean by defend for control, but what I'm picturing is that you, as a team, try and keep controlling more and more points, right? If that ends up being rather stalematey, I kind of picture it as sort of rebalancing the power of certain things that you get your hands on. EFO hopper clock that only drains items when the player is on a pressure plate. There is some serious thinking that needs to be done here. What about impulse redstone clock? Don't know what you mean by that. So when one of these controls, right, and this thing is like active, that's when we send a signal down here to do the clock. That also needs to tie in with what direction the items are going in. So whatever, I think the inputs here also have outputs, right, to go down below. Now because they're going down, I'm going to put the redstone just underneath as sort of a reminder that it's heading that direction. And we might end up using some different elements there, because we also may want to count the amount of control points. If a redstone line goes back... Right, let's say we've got a bunch of redstone lines that are incoming somewhere back at the other end of the map. Right, so the redstone travels all the way down to these points. And the thing is, you need to count a certain amount. And that would imply to me that you probably want something like a redstone comparator system. So maybe you can make it so that the final signal strength that arrives here is 1. And then somehow you've got like an adding system, which I'm not quite sure how to do. I forget how you make redstone comparators add. I think it's like... What's the way we can just automatically make a level 1 signal? I think it's like a chest and an item, right? It's like there's nothing there, and if you... It's subtract, not add, isn't it? And then if we look at that, it's power 1. Wrong button. Maybe that's not it. What are we doing here? We're trying to add. Like, the problem is, like, let's say we need 2, and this one and this one are on. Like, how's that system done? I'll let Lucaro do their thing. Because what you can do is you can make it like a gate. You can put a piston, it's like this block here, that block there, and then you've got like a signal running through. But if something's missing in the middle, then it's like, well, how do you know? And that's where my brain kind of gets a little stuck. This is the circuit, I think... Okay, so... Signal strength 5, signal strength 1, output is... Let's go here. Output is 6? Is that literally adding? It's literally adding. So what was... Like, you started with a full strength signal. Why... Let's rebuild that a little bit over here. Okay, so the end of our signals will need to be timed to be exactly 1. What is that? 15 minus 15. Hang on, I don't follow that. I need to just do it practically myself, essentially. Right, so when full strength signal goes in, and then you got like subtract. Let's take that. I believe that's the signal 1. Yeah, 1 of 15. Pressing all the wrong buttons here. Power is 14. So like what? Oh, it's the bit at the end. So so the final, interesting. Okay, how many of these are we working with again? We're going to be counting. Now, here's something important. The neutral ones, I wasn't actually going to make control points, but I think they should be. So 1, 2, 5, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13. So we would have 13 lines of redstone that come back, and they look like this. I'm assuming I can do that. I think I can do that. Let's go ahead and stack from there to there. Already a absolutely monstrous bit of redstone. So cool. So cool though. And then this has a full strength signal. So we should see an output of 2 if I've understood all of that correctly. Subtract mode important here. Our signal is 30. Wait, no. This was adding, not subtracting. Right? Let's double check it. Like, we have a signal strength of 4 because we have 3 and 1. So now we'll have a signal strength of 6. Right, all our signal strengths are going to be 1 because we're counting them. So at somewhere in this map, we will have an array of redstone signals that come back and then give you a certain amount. Now, because we know it's 13, we can set our win condition here. Right, like, I'll do it crudely to begin with. Let's just go ahead and give ourselves a bit more room. So, like, that's a weaker signal now. Okay, so this is where we build the win condition. So now we're creating a weaker signal. So what happens when I have 1 less there? It goes down. And then that will take it up. So we're currently working like every single one of them is active. Let's say we set our win condition to 12 or something. Like let's knock off a couple of these. You only need 10 to win the game, right? Then what happens here is really important, I think. I'm almost there, like figuring it out for myself, but it takes me like a lot of time, and when I'm streaming, it makes it actually quite difficult to think a little clearer because I'm always talking. So let's just try that again. 11, because we're not working with a full signal. So 13, take 1 away, 12. Okay, so win condition is going to be like, let's say 10. So I think what we need is actually an input of 10, which we'll use a chest, but for now I'm going to use this. So that's 15, 14, 13, 12. I guess I think that gives me 10. That's 9. And actually I might have just put this in the completely wrong spot. Because I think I need it there, and that needs to be on like subtract mode. Right, so now our output is off. Let's go ahead and put more of these in. And the output is on, which is not actually... maybe it is, because once you reach that number... yeah, okay, it stays off. Once you reach the right number, then it's on. That's your win condition. So, the contents of this... right here. Oh, why didn't I use that a minute ago? I should have totally used that a minute ago. So we're using full power here, and then this one determines win condition. This book will make it really nice to change. So we can say the win condition is 9. We can even write that in the book. We've got a power of 4. 1, 2, 3. And then it might be off by 1. So I can always make an adjustment for that in the book. I can say page 9 might actually mean win condition 8 or win condition 10. Anyway, once enough of these are turned on, because the players have, you know, captured the points, we then get a win condition at the end of the game. Cool. So that is the system for winning, which is now going to be built off of this. The reason we built that is because our inputs, I believe, here for which side is, you know, it could actually just be branched off of here. We don't know what way it's going to go yet. But we're going to have an input and an output. And now we're going to have like our, this one goes back to the beginning. That one goes back to the beginning. They are going to be a part of this array here, so that that makes sense, right? I should definitely color code this redstone with wool at some point too. I haven't watched all other streams yet. Was watching Tango's, RIP Tango's game. Kind of difficult to protect redstone and show a display at the same time. I don't know why you said RIP Tango's game. Like, I'm not sure what's happened there. But IYI Ilil is here for 7 months. Thank you. I've totally butchered your name, no doubt about it. But thank you for tuning in. Spokey, I see you writing a message. I'll keep my eye out for that. So when we do this bit, we kind of need to make it a bit foolproof as well. X, I got a brewer completed that should meet what you want. Let's go check it out. Let's get our head out of that for a second and then come back to it again. Tango's game blew up, Basalt Assault. Oh, yes. Yes, it did. Yeah, that's really unfortunate. I wasn't aware of that at the time. I saw that, I think, in the recap or somewhere I saw it. Very unfortunate. I'm assuming it's this dirty diorite one. So, interface is a barrel. Nice and clean, and yeah, we can send that back anywhere. So, what's happening? Okay, item detection. Signal comes around the back. I'm not entirely sure what's going on here. Interesting that... Okay, so I would like to make a suggestion here. An important suggestion, actually. I think this whole thing might work a little easier if your awkward potions were pre-brewed. So somewhere else you have behind it, you have the pre-brewed awkward potions ready to go. I'm not sure how complicated that bit of redstone is, but it would make this a little bit faster that it didn't do both steps at once. You could maybe also argue that that limits the amount of potions you get. But I think I need to plan balancing based on the timers that control the resources coming to the player. So I think it makes sense to make this thing work as fast as possible. It might be less compact, yeah. It should, I don't know, it's just a bit of a gut instinct. I would do it that way around. Like, this is great. We can totally use that. If you want to try the other way too, go for it. Also, the nether warts would be slightly more efficient, I think. But yeah, no, this is terrific. Nothing wrong with this. Just thinking of another way it could be done. Ah, and it uses a timer too. If you haven't seen Ease's design, which is on my channel for brewing this stuff, like, the whole using a timer thing kind of went away with potion stands some time ago. There's another way to do it, and the logic of it always, like, messes with my head, because I can do redstone, I can do, like, stuff like this, but I really need to keep my head in the place to understand it. And as soon as I spend some time, like, not doing redstone for a while, I just sort of forget everything. It's really annoying. But yeah, Ease's one introduced this logic where you didn't need a timer, and it picked out events that were happening in the brewing stand. I don't know, just some ideas for, like, compactification, but not everything needs to be super compact, right? Okay, where to go next with this one? So, let's say you come into the room and it's on... Like, there's several ways we could build this out. You stand over here for long enough, you change it to the middle, and then you stand again and you change it to the other side. Something like that. Or it could actually be using redstone signal strength. It could be like a series of stages. It's like you stand here and it's like it's going 10, 9, 8, 7. And then when you walk off, if you walk off, it stays there. I think we're going to go with whatever works best for what I can do. Which would probably be a case of stand here for long enough and then you'll change it. So that means we would start somewhere around here with... let's go put that in here. We want to start here with... some kind... Yeah, maybe actually it'd be a hybrid of both. Like... Let's check this out. So... This is where it's a good idea, like when you keep doing this, is to just go, what am I not using right now? There you go, much better. Probably not going to use that for a while. So anyway, items that are in here, let's say it's like 8. Oh, I didn't expect it to do that. Right, they're going to stay on that side. And the player stands up here. Then they blink. So what was the logic for that? I think it's something like this. That's now the locked side over there. Okay, take the item off, and they'll drain back. Now the problem I see with that is that if you stand here, right, and then it changes, you can go boom, boom, and change again. Because what we want to do is we want to move it from one side through neutral to the other. Or alternatively, maybe not. So essentially, when this is empty, which it currently is... Okay, sorry, I've got the wrong side. It's that side. When that's empty, we can create a signal out of that. That signal could just sort of go straight down there. Okay, there's a reason that these are sticky, is so that you can have it neutral. So what does it actually need to do? Because we need to keep like an on... Yeah, oh my god, this is really weird. We need it to be permanently on. So the output needs to be permanently on. I feel like these pressure plates are going to have to interact with each other somehow. You are very, very vulnerable on the pressure plate at the moment. Maybe consider removing the walls so you can get away easily after your punch, says Malda05. That's actually the point. The point was to incapacitate the player somewhat by having them step into that side bit. EFO hopper clock will empty on the left and empty on the right, and the other neutral is anything in between. Yes, okay, so that would involve some logic where it's like, if both of these have items in, then something's happening here. Let's see. Maybe I've done this a bit of an awkward way, but let's just put that like that. So then we'll put some items in. We're going to have to build like a whole bunch of systems until we figure out what works. Anyway, items are in both. That's off. Man, thinking through... you know what? I make excuses for myself. Like, oh, I'm streaming. It's so difficult to think. But I'm generally like a slow thinker with logic, I think. I don't know. Maybe if I wasn't, I'd be a little better. Right, this doesn't lock. Is another thing. Like, how do you make this? I think you actually don't use sticky pistons if you want it to lock. Can't remember. So let's say we just go with these and see what happens. Yeah. Okay. And now look at that. Look at that. Right. So what we need to do is highlight the states that we're getting out of what we've built, because we're trying to create a contraption we can interact with and then create, you know, an output from that. So as you can see, we currently have these two sides here on. Now, let's say this is the pressure plate of this side. Standing on it, oh, it actually does. Well, I know why it does, because of the particular placement of various things. Let's try that again. Just grab that thing. So if I come and stand here, we're not going to change. No, we are. I thought that was already... Is that still quasi stuff? What am I... Oh, I see. Ah, that's kind of unfortunate. Well, if I stand here, I can't make a difference. Oh, no, it blinks. That's not working out very well, unfortunately. God, how to do this? Oh, I'm a little bit stumped. We need like a fresh idea to maybe figure this one out. Like when you stand on the pressure plate, what's the next step of logic? What's the thing that needs to happen? It needs to interact with something that controls this in 3 different states. That's quite a tricky thing. What other things are there in this game that could help with that? Like sometimes there's a nice solution that just isn't redstone wires and stuff. It's like, oh, there's that block that does this thing, and it's like, oh yeah, actually that's super helpful, but I can't think of what that might be. Monostable circuit. Oh man, I do not remember my circuits and gates very well. Monostable. Are we talking... Are we... no, I'm thinking of something different. Pimmy, the storage system is... if you just go, like, watch the episode where I build it, there's a link to the video, the creator, and there's a world download. That's how I put it in the world. Armored Monkey, thank you for gifting a sub to Edition 1291. Greatly appreciated. Are you trying to count the time that they spend on the plate? Potentially, yes. I'm trying to figure out just like the basics of input to output, all the various states, and then obviously inputs can be different. So I might figure out a system where it's like you stand on here and then it changes. I think I would prefer one where you stand here and it has to count. 3 flip-flops, 3 inputs. Not sure I see that either. We'll keep trying. Gosh, this is so tricky. We can have a piston, like, you know, you stand on the pressure plate, you turn on some redstone. What's that redstone going to do? I really like this because this feels kind of great that there's like a timing thing where it's neutral and then it locks. Actually, this is probably like a lot closer than I'm thinking. I'm probably just like a little further away from what I wanted. So the issue kind of here is that if we power the one that's powered, we push it across, and if we power the one that isn't, oh right, maybe what I've done here. Okay, we were actually kind of close to this a minute ago, and then I thought I'd made a mistake. I'm putting the inputs onto both the piston and the redstone. So when we put it just here, so if I come... Right, this is currently on. If I come and stand here, now we're draining it. Are we draining it? I'm actually not sure what's going on now. Okay, I think our gate in the middle is like useless, is it? Okay, it's off. Alright, another problem with this is that you stand on it once and you turn it to the other side. So I think actually we built a system here that works. But you only have to stand on the pressure plate once, and I kind of want the player to have to stay there. Let's go ahead and remove this. And let's say it's... I think we're getting there. Because the pistons, I don't think actually need to interact directly. So Oh no, wait, again, if you stand... So if you stand here for a second and then go away, that's left on that side, so no, we're not quite there. And it's swapped over. And then you stand here for a second, it goes to the other side, the things change, and then it's on the other side. If I turned this to a sticky piston, you might think it solves the problem, but unfortunately, when the redstone block moves back... So, what if the pressure plates... Okay, what if this is locked here? Okay, I think I'm seeing it, and this might be one of those scenarios where you end up, like, simplifying on so many levels. Like that. So they're locked. Then I stand here, and then I go away. Ah, no, not quite, not quite. How do I make it so you don't need to be on both at either side, right? I think I know what you do. You have torches at that level, and then you have redstone at this level. So these are locked. Ha! Aha! Right. If I stand here, we allow the transfer of items from one side to the other. We are getting there. I just need to now build a few more things that help us visualize this, let's say. I also want to make this a little quicker. Let's put it at 12. Nonsense Note, thank you for your subscription. Greatly appreciated. Greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. Also, I found some viewers tuning in. Thank you for coming by. Be sure to hit that that old follow button here on the Twitch if you're enjoying the stream. Hoppers are always locked, someone said. Are they always locked? I don't think they are. No, they're not. But it means that I can stand here for a second, then do that, and they're locked again, right? And then I have to stand here to continue. But let's say the other team come along, and then the charge down is way quicker. So now I need to establish, like, what's the relationship of this pressure plate to this output? Especially in terms of that. Because remember that we have sticky pistons here. So just, I think this actually is working because it's yeah, that's a problem. That both can be on at the same time. So let's go ahead and flip the output into this right here and then have a little look again. Okay, then this one, that's perfect. That's perfect. Now we're neutral. Then that, oh, beautiful. Right. Obviously, these need to be a little closer. What are you doing? Right, let's try this. We are totally getting there, and I think a lot of this redstone might be simplified, but one thing at a time, right? So our beacon goes below this. Oops. I am really happy that we have got through this. Like, it is very satisfying to find the answer. Okay, anyway. So this is red on this side. I need to put down the pressure plate so the colours are right. And I've sort of flipped it, I think, but that's fine because we're learning and doing things. Right. So now we've kind of sussed out how that works, and we can adjust the change over time here. But look, you know, as soon as you hit that thing, you make it neutral. You could argue that maybe there should be a bit of a cooldown. We could potentially do that with some simple delay that goes to the piston. Like you could have a bunch of repeaters that slow it down, yada yada yada. We might add a little bit of that. But now it's neutral. And what's important... Right, this is turning on when one side is active. When it's neutral, it's off. Right, and if we look at the logic here, the comparators are absolutely necessary. But I think... I'm not sure what way around I want that. Oh, I can't see it now either. Let's put it there. So that's on, even though it's a weak one. Right. However, technically, I could take the signal off of that bit. Right, use signal strength. But then as I put more items in here, if I decide it needs to be longer, that system might be compromised. Okay, so it's off when it's neutral. Also, how do I reset this? And oh no, it's not resettable. You'd have to come in and manually put an equal amount on either side. Oh man, what a bad time to figure that out, right? You need a reset button that goes into this. Dang. How would one achieve that? Girls, thank you for gifting a sub to TBNR Woods. Greatly appreciated. We always appreciate the gifting of the subs. As I just said, it was greatly appreciated. Oofty says nonsense note. Well, this is Redstone, right? Like, look at how many... There's a blinking light over there. Look at how many, like, variables we have to consider. We haven't even gotten to, like, okay, how do the outputs of these now interact with this system? Like, we haven't even gotten that far, but that's fine, because this, what we're building right here, when it's finished, will make a large part of our system. Like, it gets used every single time, except for the middle one. Pull every item out and put them back in, says Talbar. Easier said than done. I mean, given how the space is right now, I think that's a bit of a crude way of doing it. I mean, not saying it can't be done. I just think that sounds like more like putting a patch on the system as opposed to rebuilding the system so it's part of how it's built. Right? Like, what I want to do is I want to write the code that does the job exactly the way I want. I don't want to write a code that almost does it and then has a patch on it. That's how I interpret that. But yeah, it could work. AND gate into a counter into a flip-flop. I do want to have this like bit in the middle where you can see it's neutral and then it changes over, but a flip-flop would mean we don't have that, which is okay, but you still need that third state, so you need to be able to like withdraw the so right, let's just like lay that one out, right? A flip-flop, whoops, a flip-flop is going to, what do I want here? I want a repeater. It's going to say which one is it, right? Is it here or is it there? Great, two outputs. But what we kind of want is like a flip-flop that's like that, but then we can put it in the middle state when we're done. So we do, I think we fundamentally want some sort of like block or thing that moves between three positions. And oh, what could do that? What sort of inherently can give you three states easily? Cybot's got something working. Go on. What are we using? Signal strength, yep. Something super complicated. Okay. What happens when... Here's another thing. Like, what if two players are standing on a pressure plate at once? That's really nice because it's sort of... Oh, wait. Then it falls down. Oh, wait. Because you're on the other side now. Okay. And then that holds it in the... Oh, I think Cybot's got it. I think Cybot's absolutely got it. Pick that up. So this comparator stuff, I get what it's doing, but I tend to struggle with following the logic. But essentially, somewhere in here there's a clock which determines the pace at which the signal strength change, and then there's like an adding subtracting system. So we're using a balance of a redstone signal from 15 to 0, and note that the output here is inverted. Which I think the redstone torch might mean there's like a tick advantage, but just pointing out that there might be like a slight tick inaccuracy between how long it takes one side to the other to activate, which is not, I don't think is really an issue. This has kind of exactly what I'm after. And it's nice because you can sort of walk away here, but if you stand on it for a little bit longer, you kind of power it up. Which might be something visual we can add as well. So let's say this is right below where the players are playing. we could potentially take this and put a lamp like around here or wherever it is the player is standing to act, like next to the pressure plate, right? And then that says, hey, you fully, you know, you've done it fully, right? I think that would make more sense if we made the speed of this thing slower. So if this thing charged slower, I think it would make more sense that you could also have a indicator that you've locked it fully. Yeah, it likes to just tick back one, doesn't it? I think what Cybot's got here is definitely on the mark. Winter Cherry, thank you so much for subscribing. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Let's go back to the... well, here's some thoughts, Cybot, for this system. The pressure plates will need to be up and above. Like, obviously, equal distance from either side of the... So you're going to have your pressure plates sort of up there. And then we do want the redstone to be sort of relatively compact. Like, these modules, they can't get too massive just because of the nature of the layout of the map. We want to keep things sort of contained in relatively compact spaces as they'll be sort of alongside one another. Let's go back over here for a second, because what Cybot's built would need to interact with some other things. Yeah, we've got the top level done. The players come in, they do this, they do... Oh yeah, the reset. That's the okay. So, Cybot, what we also need is a way to tell this thing to put the signal strength to the middle. And based on what I'm seeing here, the value of that is controlled by either side. So it would need a neutral state, like a neutral resettable state, where you can hit a button and then it goes to the middle. And preferably not with a timer. Like, you could tell it, like, let's simulate the player over here is full strength and then the player over here is this. I think the better way to design it is to have a reset button built in. That's like I was saying a moment ago. It's like, you know, you're sort of adding a patch. That contraption made me understand the entire game. It's an area capture feature, isn't it, Skyfighter? Maybe don't wooden pressure plates because they can have items on them, but the system works. I think it'll be an honor rule not to use items, right? Like, because you want the color coding. Actually, the color coding can come from the environmental blocks, so yeah, maybe we don't use wooden pressure plates. Maybe we just put, let's go get our stripped mangrove wood. I've been using the wrong pressure plate this entire time. Maybe what we go for is this, like, hey, you're on this team, use that one. And then stone pressure plate, or maybe the, whatever suits aesthetically, I imagine. That goes there. Okay, so if we use Cybot's system, we've got the power up, the power down, we need the reset for the neutral. So a signal comes in, resets the whole game. Then what we also need now is for the output that reaches the sticky pistons, which again down here it's going to be, both can be off at the same time, one can be on, pretty simple stuff. So this signal is going to arrive down to the sticky piston, and it's going to need to, as you can see, send a signal out if it's one side, going in one direction. It's going to need to do the same thing on the opposite side, and it's going to need to send a signal down. So let's assume it arrives sort of here. I'm going to put a redstone block there to say like that. Oh, I've already got one. Let's say we're assuming it arrives kind of here, right? And then we know when it's this one's turn, it'll be something like that with a little bit of time in between. Right, so we need... It's actually going to be a repeater. I don't know why it is a comparator. Same over there. So then those signals go back off to those systems. Brilliant. Nothing really needs changing so far. The next thing that needs to happen... In fact, I can just sort of borrow off of this redstone here, really. The next thing that needs to happen is that this then needs to come down to something down here. We could use... no. I was going to say you could do this like on and off like that. Remember now there's a third state, which is that neither side has this. And when neither side has this, nothing needs to be dispensed. I'm going to get rid of these for a minute. So now what we need... What have I got here? Game on offline, we've done that. We haven't, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so when this one's activated, we want a downward signal. Probably the most efficient way to get something simple downwards is slime blocks with a thing on the end. There's not a lot of blocks around here, so let's go ahead and do that. Right? This slime block simply needs to interact... sorry, redstone block simply needs to interact with the one on that side. Okay. If the signal's going in that direction, we know it's actually the other side. So now we need the same thing on the opposite side. So when this side's active, it will send the water the opposite direction, right? What have I done wrong here is pretty obvious. Okay, so let's look at it. Red team is, you know, on that pressure plate. Maybe I've got them the wrong way around at the top. But red team... Oh, we don't need any of this. This is all old school. Maybe I wanted that. Anyway, so red team has got their signal going back to this system, and they've got the opposite side pushed up so that the items flow back to their side. That's terrific. Now, when one of these is active, because remember, sometimes they can be in that middle state. That's interesting. I think I prefer... Okay, so how do we flip this? We do this. We put it on the opposite side, and then we give it a torch. I think I prefer it... I mean, Okay, if I flip it so that they're shut by default, an item might despawn inside of there. As an edge case, if we leave it like that, maybe it drifts to either side if one gets dispensed. So you can do it either way around, but like, why would I do it the other way around is what I'm thinking. And I think it just means items may be more likely to get lost if it's the other way around. So we'll leave it like that. Now what we need to do is we need to make a timer here that controls this thing, that when this drops down on either side, like to let's say this level, it will then be activated. And then the nature of this clock that we're going to put here needs to be configurable. It's going to be an EFO hopper clock, I think. It needs to be configurable so that we can balance the game at a later point in time. Madaray, thank you ever so much for 28 months. Time flies. Hope you're well and taking care of yourself. Do you know what? I need to drink some more. I need to hydrate over here. Thank you so much for your continued support. I'm doing all right. Thanks for asking. How are y'all liking the game? Is all this redstone making sense? You could use hopper minecarts in some way, since you can fill them up, lock them quickly, but also break them to instant reset. You know, the hopper minecart certainly has some properties that are useful. I'm not sure I see how to use them right now. Clear as mud, but still entertaining. Redstone's just like that, I think. Anyway, let's focus on like what clocks do we have available. Let's say we were to go with something like this. I mean, these used to be way better until they changed how this all worked. Not sure I'm even remembering how to build it properly now. Maybe it's like that. Oh, do you know why I'm not seeing any? I know why I'm not seeing any signal decay. How would I change the distance there ever so slightly? I think that's not gonna get it, is it? Actually, no. That goes to both. Maybe. No, then that then powers itself. This might just do it. Not very configurable. Just remember that was like an important part of what I was thinking, is it needs to be configurable, which always involves hoppers. See, I built this really amazing hopper clock that isn't quite like an EFO hopper clock. It's a little more compact, but it doesn't use pistons, which would be nice. The less pistons, the better, like the less noise. I wonder if this could work without pistons. No, you have to move a block, so you absolutely have to use pistons. Look at this. It's taking on all forms of, like... Oh, look at that, using the distance as signal strength. That's really clever, actually. Look at how... Oh, Cybot, you should have kept that. Like, it's a really good idea to keep, like, old bits of redstone. Oh, wait, it is there. Look, here you go. So you can see how now we've gone from this to doing that. Anyway, the other redstone clock that I want to use is part of a secret project, and I don't want to show off the redstone for it, so I will do it off camera. But yeah, I'm going to go grab that and see if I can fit that in here. But I think we've got it. We've got the means to control the pressure plates and change the state of the piston with an ability to reset it to restart the game. When one of the sides are controlled, they will send back signals to let the main area know and do the addition for the win condition. And they will also activate, or let's say open up a lane for the items to move across. We just need to then also make them activate the clock that powers this. That's going to have shulker boxes pointing into it to keep it refilled. I'll manually go over and refill it. And that is a massive component of this game done. The next stage will then be to figure out the distances that we want between each of these points, and then start to build up that massive array of water streams and redstone that's going to be underneath this game. It's going to be crazy. After that, then it's like designing the area with the beacon and the crafting area and potions and stuff. And then it will be like design phase, really, like probably designing the layout, building up the arena, and I'm hoping to get some help from some of the hermits with this project. So yeah, let's see what Cybot's doing just for a second. This looks interesting. It looks to me like it might run a little slower. I don't know, because there's like lots of comparators, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I probably don't want to jump on there while this thing is being built, though. Looks like it'll be nice and compatible with everything else, though. And I guess... oh, wait. If this is using signal strength, Cybot, does that mean it's not going to have, like, the overlock condition, which I really like? I like the idea that you can, like, beef it up a little bit. Maybe that was something that got overseen. So, if that turns out to be what I'm looking at, then maybe the redstone runs like this. Let's use a different block, just so what I'm saying is a little clearer. Like, the redstone arrives here a little sooner, then comes out, and then that could make its way up to this up here. Like, maybe through some redstone torches. You kind of want one more there. Anyway, you know your redstone. If I'm correct there, then let's add that in. Also, this thing going down then up, like, actually what we should probably do is make it go up to there, right? So, let's remedy this with a piece of redstone. Because that then means that all these torches can be offset, so You can actually bring it down like this. See, look, I can do very basic redstone, right? I don't know if that lever... Oh, no, the lever's over by one. Brilliant. Yeah, so then if this side were fully activated, then that would turn on now. Pretty cool. Cybot, I'll let you take care of it. It's time for me to head out of here. But thank you so much, Spooky Dokie, Lucaro, Cybot. Always appreciate the redstone help. You're helping make this a wonderful game. We got so much more to do. I'm excited. I don't know when I'll do the next stream, but you know, when I'm ready. When I'm ready. Building a mega game here. Right. Thank you, everyone. Be sure to hit the follow button before you head out of here. Big thanks to everyone who subscribed, resubscribed, donated, and cheered. As always, your support is appreciated. Thanks to all the mods, the patrons, the people gifting subs. Appreciate what you do. And we'll go to a riggedy raid, right? Who are we going to raid? Pixel Riffs! Raiding Pixel Riffs. That's it. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.